Hey everyone, it is time for Saturday scrapbooking. So I've got my white linen cardstock and I have this picture of my husband at one of the lookouts at Cape Point. And this was actually a World War II lookout. This says the remains of secret World War II radar station, 1943. It goes on to talk about how a transmitter receiver was erected in 1943 in response to increased enemy U-boat attacks on the Allied convoys, and it was manned by the South African Defence Force Special Signal Services, and later was converted into the present lookout. So that was kind of a cool bit of history there. There's a picture of me, and there's that little sign off to the side there. And then on the next page, I have 3 more pictures. This first one, there were rocks like this all over and they just looked like camouflage to me and I thought they were kind of cool, so I took a picture of one. And then I took a picture of this like zoomed in down to the water and it was kind of reminded me of like almost a heart-shaped type of rock and I thought it was really cool. And there is zoomed out, you can see that down below. Love the color of the water, so pretty. Now I've gone into my stash and found some strips of cardstock that I thought worked well for this. I liked this color. So I'm just going to slip it underneath the pictures and I'm just going to have this strip of this blue color go straight across the entire layout. I didn't want to go underneath that picture, so just removing the picture for a moment. And I will pop that down. And then I also have a strip, these are things that I've used on previous layouts, and I had this strip of another blue silvery kind of cardstock that I had torn, and so I found 2 torn pieces that were similar size, and I'm just adding those underneath the pictures here. I played with so many different papers trying to make this work, and I cut so much of it out. It literally took me hours to come up with this, to figure out those pieces of paper underneath. I had other larger colors of paper and it just wasn't working. Sometimes it takes longer than others, and this one definitely took me longer. But I have some 49 and Market rub-on transfers that I'm going to use. I have the Travel Diaries. That's this pack here. There's some really pretty ones. And then I also have the oh, I'm going to cut one out here first because I did definitely want to use that one. It does have the continent of Africa on there. And then I have the Curiosities in Willow Grove. It just has some nice little splashes of color with some script and different things on there. And I thought I might use those, and I really tried to incorporate some. Just wasn't working. So I will kind of position them around and think, oh, should I put this here? Oh, and I have this adorable sea turtle that I was making a card with the sea turtle the other day, and yeah, I made a few sea turtles, so I thought this one would be cute here. And still trying to make those little rub-on pieces work, but I don't think I use any from the Curiosities in Willow Grove. I decided to move that one to the other side and see if it worked. I will eventually move it back. But I did pull out my nested heart dies by Prism Studios and some scraps of blue and brown cardstock, and I cut a bunch of hearts out, and I wasn't sure what I was going to use, and I do use a couple of them on this layout, but I'm moving things around. I have to see things visually on the page to see if I like them, so there was a lot of auditioning things here and there. There are several lookout points at Cape Point, and there's different stairs and pathways leading to different ones, so this is just one of them. And the views down at the water were so pretty, I just could have stood and gazed at those for quite some time. And if my memory serves me correct, this is the last layout that I have for Cape Point. Next week's will be focused on where we went after that. So you can tune in next week to find out what the next part of our adventure was. Anyways, I'm still trying to figure out where I want everything placed, but I decided, you know what, let's actually adhere these strips down so that I can actually get some things stuck down onto the page. So I'm just using my glue press there and sticking that down, and then stick this little strip. It was actually quite wonderful that these strips were pretty close to the same size. I mean, the larger strips are from a package that I bought at Michael's, oh gosh, probably 15 years ago. And I have almost all of the package left because I had not scrapbooked much in quite some time. But anyways, so I had those, but those little shiny strips towards the bottom, I had used those, I'd used that paper a few weeks back on a layout, and I had these strips that were cut or torn, and they were very similar in size, and they worked perfectly for this. So it's wonderful to be able to go into your scraps and find something that will work. So now I did notice in the center there where those skinny strips meet, they don't meet up very evenly in that position, but they did the other way. So I'm just shifting them around. You can see that lines up much better. So just putting the pictures back in place. And then I believe I will start adding some of the rub-on transfers down. Maybe. Oh, I'm still trying to decide where I want that one. Oh yes, I brought in some terracotta rub-on transfers, also by 49 Market. These are gorgeous, and I've barely used any of these yet. But they had these squiggly brown and black lines, and I thought those would work. That'll tie in some of the brown and just gives like a hint of something around a couple of the pictures. So I'm just figuring out exactly where I want that, and I did decide I will put that one just on the side, and you can just barely see it peeking out. So I've taken the backing off of the rub-on transfer there, just making sure it's straight with my picture, and then I will go ahead and rub it. And like I usually say, these 49 Market transfers rub so amazingly. Now, because I am using a linen textured cardstock, sometimes I have to rub it a little bit more, and I'm very careful when I peel it off just to make sure that it's stuck, because yeah, in the texture there, sometimes it struggles a tiny bit, but really not much at all. They are amazing. So the other little brown piece I figured I would add next to this picture with that rock. Just give a little something there. I was just figuring out where exactly. Okay, never mind. I'm not going to finish that yet. I'm going to stick the picture down. Stick both of those pictures down. And then maybe I'm switching to the other rub-on transfer on this page. Yep, I will stick this one down. And again, it rubs amazingly. Or I guess I should say it transfers amazingly. Look at how pretty that is. That travel diary set is so gorgeous. I wish I had the budget to buy the entire line. Like, the papers are gorgeous. I don't have any of those. I think I only have the travel diaries rub-on transfers, and then I have the laser cut elements, which I looked through them, and none of them really spoke to me for this layout. I am going to use some of them in the future in this album, but not for this page. But now I figured I want that little brown piece there, so I'm gonna adhere that down. And then I believe I am going to stick these two pictures down in place. Make sure I've got them lined up nicely and glue those down. I'm actually quite pleased with how this layout is coming together. I was looking at it trying to plan it out the night before, or get some ideas on it the night before I actually put it together. And I had some ideas, and I wasn't 100% settled on them, and I thought, you know what, I'll just sleep on it. And then I got up the next morning and went to do it and went, oh, that just does not look good. So I changed my whole plan. And I'm quite happy that I did, because I like this way better. So I think I have most things stuck on, just those hearts left to go. So I've got them lined up, glue those on, and then I think I'm going to bring out a sticker pack, from Heidi Swap, and it has a whole lot of different ocean themed sentiments on there. So I'm sticking one here that says, "It's an adventure kind of day." And then over those two little hearts, I am putting the one that says obsessed because I was kind of obsessed with the views. And now I'm covering up my pictures with some scrap paper, and I have some walnut stain distress spritz that I'm just splattering a little bit of brown in some of the places, just making sure to protect all my pictures. And just give that little bit of splatter, and that is it. So this layout literally took me about 4 hours planning, and now it's finally done. But look at how that came together. Quite pleased with it. I love the little sea turtle on there. Anyways, that is it. I think I'm going to add a couple of still shots on here, but I just wanted to say thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your thumbs up and your comments, and have a wonderful, peaceful day.